Ray Byers Jr. with Byers Solar, LeafGuard, and Solatube. You know, a lot of people know us as, you know, Byers LeafGuard. That's really where we put a lot of our marketing efforts the past number of years. What made you decide that that's something that you really wanted to entertain as far as having a covered gutter system? What pain points were you seeing?
Well, there are two things. One is the gutters that were on the house when we bought it, when it was built. We found out, even though we've gone through 4 drought years prior to this last one, we found out that the gutters weren't sufficient to handle all of the water flow. We have a lot of peaks and valleys on our roof line, and so there were a lot of areas, that corner of the roof and that corner of the roof, and when it rained heavily, we had a waterfall on both corners of the house, and as well as other areas. So we knew we needed a larger capacity gutter system. And we have a fair amount of trees around, and we were getting a lot of leaves and needles in the gutters. So we just decided, gee, since we're having the solar done, why don't we just have Byers install the LeafGuard system at the same time? Again, we'd seen it advertised, and we'd seen it in person at home and garden shows, and we'd actually even looked into it, I think, as far as getting a bid price, many years ago, and decided to put it off until later. But it just seemed like a logical time to do it, right after the solar system was installed.
And we also had a little bit of work done out here on our lanai that wasn't related to gutters, but the man who had done that for us had taken a look, had done a little bit of work out front also, and he looked at a particular place where the water would just cascade down a valley, and he was concerned about dry rot. And he was afraid there might be dry rot there. And so then we became concerned about all these areas that we had where we had just waterfalls instead of the gutters taking care of the water flow.
Yeah.
So we thought, we need to take a look at this for the long term especially.
Yeah, and it was really timely getting the new system installed just prior to one of the wettest winters on record, and as much rain as we had this last winter, we had no waterfalls. So that was it was proof that they work.
It is very impressive when you look at it. They can handle that much water,
yeah.
Just through that small opening in the front.
Yeah.
Yeah, to your point, the proof was in the pudding this year.
Yeah.
And they look nice too.
Yeah, they do.
Gutters in and of themselves aren't aesthetically that pleasing, but these have a finished look, I think, with the cap on them, and they're not obtrusive, being up there on your house.
And they put in larger downspouts for us too, and that made a big difference, I think.
Right. Yeah, to be able to carry that water out of the system so that you are able to get it out as quick as possible.
Yeah. And we had one situation after the gutters were installed that, standing out in front looking at the house, it looked like 2 little end pieces of the gutters were not exactly level, and so we called Byers, and they had a man out the next day and totally reinstalled those pieces so that they were perfectly level.
It's just an adjustment.
Yeah.
It was immediate response and totally took care of it.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for having our whole organization out to really be trusted in your home, starting with the Solatube, the gutters, as well as the solar. So thank you. very much. We greatly appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure for
Yes,
us.
it has. Thank you.